Tuesday's first video for you, which first news story is from Eritrea, where Somali and Eritrean president have signed an MoU, Memorandum of Understanding. Which are the main points mentioned in this MoU? Hassan Sheikh is in Eritrea. Today is day 4 of his Eritrean visit. Second news story is about an Eritrean diaspora event due to be held in Stockholm at the end of this month. And before this program, we are seeing a campaign to stop this program because a renowned Eritrean poet is due to attend this program. Who is he? What is the significance of this program? Thirdly, we have a new story from Oromia. Not Oromia, it's North Shoa zone of Amhara region. Oromo Liberation Army released a statement a few hours ago about killings in North Shoa zone of Amhara region. Yesterday, I shared a new story with you about fighting in North Shoa zone of Amhara region. What is OLA saying? How many have been killed? Which forces are involved there? Fourthly, we have a new story about Eritrean Afar National Congress, EANC. An Eritrean opposition group based in Canada, which held a 3-day long meeting, a congress, and after that this organization passed a resolution. What are the important points? What is this EANC saying? And lastly, UN has announced to probe child killings in Ethiopia, Ukraine and Mozambique. Firstly, viewers, first news story is from Eritrea Somalia. The President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud is visiting Eritrea, and he has visited Somalia soldiers under training who have completed their training in Eritrea. Yesterday he visited Somalia's Navy officials who are being trained in Eritrea. He visited several projects, Eritrean projects like dams, agricultural projects, dairy farms too. Now, reportedly a few hours ago, Eritrean and Somali presidents signed a memorandum of understanding. An MoU has been signed. What are the main points mentioned in this MoU? Firstly, the two countries, Eritrea and Somalia, have agreed that fight against terrorism in Somalia is mandatory, not only for peace in Somalia but also for peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. So both have agreed to continue to jointly fight terrorism in Somalia. Secondly, the two countries have announced to promote relations between the two peoples. Not only the two peoples, but also between their diaspora communities. Thirdly, political and diplomatic cooperation will be increased. Next point is that economic and social cooperation will be broadened in trade, investment, agriculture, water security, fisheries, health and education sectors. Close cultural, artistic, sports ties will be built through programs, activities. Environment will be protected, defense and security cooperation will increase, and economic coordination in the Horn of Africa will be pursued by these two countries. Now, it's just a memorandum of understanding. It has principles which should govern Eritrea Somalia relations. Did Hassan Sheikh and Isaias Afwerki sign any agreement? we have no news that a particular agreement has been signed in any area, in defense, security, economy, or in other areas, but it could happen that some specific agreements could be signed. So far, this memorandum of understanding was drafted a few hours ago, and some sources say that the two presidents have signed this memorandum of understanding. I'll update you in coming hours about increasing Eritrea Somalia cooperation. What is going to be the impact of this Hassan Sheikh's visit of Eritrea on the Horn of Africa politics? That remains to be seen. Is Somalia going to closely align itself with Eritrea, or does Hassan Sheikh just want return of Somalia soldiers from Eritrea, and that is why he's in Eritrea? These questions will be answered after Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud's return. Coming days, coming weeks will tell us what is going to be the impact of this Hassan Sheikh's visit of Eritrea. Second news story is from Sweden, Stockholm, where Eritrean diaspora community is making preparations to organize a celebration, a festival which will be held from the 28th of July till 31st of July. And we are seeing a campaign, social media campaign, a diplomatic campaign as well, to stop this upcoming festival in Stockholm. We know that every year Eritrean diaspora community in EU and US organizes festivals, 3-4 day long festivals, mostly in summer season. And venues are announced, then people from different parts of Europe and America, they attend these festivals. A festival in Germany is underway, in Sweden at the end of this month, and after that one in US is also planned. And these festivals include cultural activities, drama, music, political discussions, fundraising as well. Eritrean artists sometimes participate too. This upcoming event in Stockholm is becoming controversial because of likely participation of Awel Said. Awel Said is an Eritrean poet and speaker, known for his patriotic monologues and his poetry. On YouTube, you can watch dozens of his pieces. He is seen as a fierce nationalist, but his opponents accuse him of being a war propagandist. And when he performs, mostly you would see that he is wearing military cap, military uniform, and some say he is extremely anti-TPLF, and he just raises funds for Eritrean government, which Eritrean government uses to fund its war campaign. So there are his supporters, his opponents, and he has been invited to attend this upcoming Stockholm festival at the end of this month. That is why we are seeing a campaign. Petitions are being signed and sent to Swedish government that Awel Said must not be allowed, and this event should not be allowed to be organized in Stockholm. We know that Daoud Isaac is in prison in Eritrea. Daoud Isaac basically from Eritrea, but he is a Swedish national too as well. After Eritrean independence, he went to Eritrea, and there he worked as a reporter for a newspaper. Then he became owner, shareholder of the newspaper. But in 2001, he was arrested and he was charged with treason. He and several other journalists and politicians were arrested. G15 were arrested in Eritrea in 2001, I think, and since then he's been in prison in Eritrea. Swedish government, Amnesty International, human rights bodies, they have been demanding the release of Daud Isaac and other writers and politicians. But Eritrean government has not released these G15 members. Are they alive? Have they died? In which conditions are they being kept? Several questions. Human rights agencies accuse Eritrea that these G15 people are not criminals, they are prisoners of conscience. And some Eritrean diaspora groups have been trying to convince Swedish government that it should put pressure upon Eritrea. It should take up this issue forcefully to make Eritrea release Daud Isaac. But for around 2 decades, Daud Isaac is still in prison. So while Swedish national from Eritrean descent is in prison in Eritrea, Eritrean diaspora community is organizing a festival in Stockholm with likely participation of Awel Said, known for his fiery patriotic poems. Will this event be allowed to be organized? Will Awel Said be allowed to participate? That remains to be seen. So far, we can say is that a campaign is being seen, social media campaign for and against this program. Next news story is from North Shoa zone of Amhara region, where yesterday we reported that heavy clashes erupted in the suburbs of Atayai. Amharic news sources accused Oromo Liberation Army that OLA were involved in this sudden escalation of ethnic violence. OLA last night released a statement about this development. What is OLA saying? Oromo Liberation Army says that Amhara forces and militias, they have launched attacks on innocent Wolo Oromos, and in Bate village of Jile Dimoga, 9 civilians have been killed, 25 have been wounded. Wounded are being denied medical aid, and there is no fighting close to Atayai. According to OLA, there is no fighting close to Atayai. Rather, in the vicinity of Atayai, Amhara forces, Amhara militia are making preparations for new attacks. And secondly, Oromo Liberation Army says that its fighters have not engaged. There have been no engagements between its fighters and Amhara forces, Amhara militias in the region. No details about the areas where OLA is in a North Shoa zone of Amhara region. So OLA is denying involvement in what happened in North Shoa yesterday. There is relative calm there because Amhara Special Force, Regional Force, Amhara Fauna militias, they reportedly arrived in North Shoa zone in heavy numbers. Relative calm there, but some villages have been set on fire. Yes, casualties are being reported. OLA says that Oromo farmers, innocent civilians have been killed. On the other hand, according to Amharic news sources, some government soldiers have been killed and the attack was launched by OLA backed and OLA fighters. So conflicting positions, as it always happens whenever there is fighting on Amhara Oromia border. Both sides share conflicting information. You never know what is the truth. What is confirmed is that there was fighting, and fighting involved government forces, fighting involved uh, elements which are pro-Oromo Liberation Army. Oromo farmers were involved, and in these clashes, casualties on both sides are being reported. Some Amhara Special Force soldiers were killed too, and OLA and other Oromia based groups, they have shared names of wallow farmers who were killed in North Shoa yesterday. Fourthly, we have a new story about an Eritrean opposition group based in Canada. Name of the group is EANC, Eritrean Afar National Congress. A few days ago, this group claimed that hundreds of Eritrean soldiers of Afar ethnicity defected and they entered Ethiopia to take refuge, to take shelter. Later, it was confirmed by some news sources that more than a dozen Eritrean soldiers of Afar ethnicity had entered Ethiopia, and they were at a refugee camp in Afar region of Ethiopia. This EANC group held its assembly, 3-day long assembly in Canada. From the 1st till the 3rd of July, a meeting was held with participation of Eritrean opposition political leaders, with EANC members, with Afar diaspora community members, youth groups, and some regional experts. A resolution has been passed after deliberations held in Canada. EANC is working for the interests of Afar people who live in Eritrea. EANC says that Dankalia area, which is a Afar majority area, is being exploited by Eritrean government. Natural resources of Dankalia are being used by Eritrean government, and Afars living in Dankalia, they are under repression. So EANC says that there must be a right to self-determination, that Eritrean constitution should be redrawn, and all 9 nationalities in Eritrea should be treated equally. The resolution mentions use of a support by the United Arab Emirates, and secondly it says that some Australian mining companies are mining for potash reserves in Dankalia. So EANC says that natural resources, strategic resources of Dankalia are being used by Eritrean government for their own interests, for the interest of Eritrean ruling elite. People of Dankalia, Afar people, they are being denied their rights. That is why this group is demanding a redrawing of Eritrean constitution, so that Eritrean Afars can have their rights protected. Lastly, viewers, UN is going to probe international conflicts in which children have been killed. 3 conflicts will be probed. Ethiopia firstly, secondly Ukraine, thirdly Mozambique. Secretary General of UN Antonio Guterres a few hours ago shared some numbers about child killings in 2021. According to Antonio Guterres, 2,515 children were killed and 5,555 were maimed in last year's conflicts across the world. So, in the next year's report, details about child killings in Ethiopia, Mozambique and Ukraine will be shared. So, it means that in coming days, UN could form some committee, some mechanism for the investigation of child killings in these three countries. Question is, will these three countries allow UN bodies to travel to these countries, or UN investigators will conduct investigations remotely? Ethiopia recently allowed a UN investigative commission to probe civilian killings which happened during Tigray conflict, but now a new commission is being formed. So let's see, in coming days we'll be able to see which mechanism will be adopted by UN to investigate child killings in Ethiopia, Mozambique and Ukraine. Thank you for watching.